Hello my fellow handsome gentlemen, I'm Piotr from Improvement and welcome to my video where I'm going to discover 9 scents from the Swedish fragrance house Niche4All. Niche4All is a fragrance house based in Sweden that focuses on creating high quality fragrances for an affordable price. I reached out to Johan from Niche4All because I wanted to discover and try some of their fragrances, and he was so kind to actually send me 9 fragrance samples that I have tested throughout the last month, and I am going to give you a full honest review of what I think of these scents that Niche4All sent me. The fragrance that I want to start this video off with is one of these that I have been anticipating the most, and that is honey tobacco. Some of you might think or hope that it would be similar to Swedish of Naxos or Amen Pure Heaven, and this is exactly that. This fragrance is very similar to previously named fragrances. This is super smooth, sweet, addictive. This has like Pure Heaven and Naxos a very sweet honey tobacco, almost candied rubber quality to it. If you have smelled these fragrances, you will know what I'm talking about, and it is so super delightful and delicious. Chef's kiss. On my skin, I got 10 to 12 hours of performance and very moderate projection. The only thing that I don't find quite as similar to Naxos and Pure Heaven is that this lacks a little tiny bit of density and heaviness. Therefore, I can't rate it a perfect 10 out of 10, but it will be certainly very, very close. I am rating honey tobacco by Niche4All a 9.7 out of 10 mints improvement rating. One of the reasons I'm also giving it such a high rating is because of the price. The prices of these fragrances on their website is nuts for the quality. The next fragrance that I got to try from Niche4All is Limon Oud. This fragrance is a little harsh, dark, smoky and woody with a fresh, slightly clean and a little spicy quality to it. The smoky quality in this fragrance that is made of rosewood, oud and incense is super well made, but it is a little dry, especially in the opening, so it might not be for everyone. There is a very interesting limoncello accord in the base, which gives it a very different and unique kick to it, and that accord specifically has a very great distinction between being very citrusy and also having this very alcoholic beverage type of quality to it. It is very interesting. On my skin, it lasted 8 to 10 hours with a very moderate projection in the first few hours, which then dries off to being very intimate and almost a skin scent. In my opinion, this fragrance deserves a 9.1 out of 10 mints improvement rating. As you can see in this video so far, I'm rating these Niche4All fragrances very high, and that is because I appreciate the quality that you get for the price in these fragrances. This next fragrance is also a freshie, but I think it's going to be more mass appealing, and I'm talking about Sea Mint. This is going to be a fresh and clean fragrance with an aromatic touch to it. This is going to be citrusy, minty, a little green, of course, coming from the mint, and this fragrance almost has a cold quality to it coming from the aromatic nature of the mint. And it's going to be a little dry and spicy whenever this fragrance gets to dry. This fragrance is going to be very simple and inoffensive, so it's not going to offend anyone. It's a very easy wear. This fragrance, of course, is going to be more suitable for the warmer weather in spring and summer. You can probably also pull this off at the gym and at the workplace. On my skin though, it was a little disappointing with 3 to 6 hours of performance and very intimate projection being a skin scent. I have given Sea Mint a 7 out of 10 mints improvement rating. So not all of these are perfect in my opinion or close to perfect, but of course it is very difficult for a freshie to be very strong and have hardcore performance. But again, it's very pleasant, very easy to wear and inoffensive, and possibly compliment pulling fragrance for some. This next fragrance I was so hyped to finally try because it sounds yummy and delicious and something right up my alley. I'm talking about Blackberry Rum. This is tart, boozy and super strong. This is going to be dry, as I previously mentioned, with a touch of leather, and if I'm going to explain this fragrance to you in the most most simple yet most appealing way is that this fragrance is a mix of Tom Ford Tuscan leather and Tom Ford ombre leather mixed together and adding rum to the mix and replacing the raspberry from Tuscan leather, which gives the fragrance a dry and earthy feel, with blackberry, which is going to have the same effect but also adding some juiciness to the mix. This is super strong, sophisticated, masculine and extroverted. I think this fragrance is stunning. Chef's kiss. On my skin it lasts 8 to 10 hours with a very moderate projection for a lot of hours. I am going to give Blackberry Rum a 9.8 out of 10 men's improvement rating. I would have loved it to last a little longer on my skin with an even stronger projection. This is a must try. This is super amazing. Blackberry Rum. This next fragrance is going to be a little obvious to know what this is inspired by, and I'm of course talking about Pineapple Oak. This is of course a fragrance inspired by Creed Aventus. This is not going to be a cheap clone or inspired by a fragrance of Aventus by any means. I was super surprised of how well made this actually was. This reminds me of what Aventus was back in the day. It has this great balance of being fruity, smoky, woody and fresh. If you're looking for a fragrance that is similar to Aventus and something that is still going to be very strong for the type of fragrance, I need for you to try Pineapple Oak. And this fragrance is of course going to last way longer than the modern formulations of Aventus, and is also going to project way more than modern Aventus formulations. Pineapple Oak also lasted 10 to 12 hours on my skin with a moderate projection. And the most crazy thing about Pineapple Oak is that I got 5 compliments on the same day of wearing this stuff. This is a compliment magnet. This is a must try. 9.7 out of 10 men's improvement rating for Niche4All's Pineapple Oak. The next fragrance is going to be Sandal Jasmine from Niche4All. This is a clean, fresh, uplifting white floral fragrance with a very creamy and smooth sandalwood dry down to it. It is such a well done fragrance, super smooth, super joyful and overall a happy scent. If you're looking for a fragrance that is comfortable to wear and something that is going to relax you throughout the day whenever you're wearing it, this might be something for you. But there's a caveat. It is very weak. The projection on my skin was almost non-existent, being a skin scent and only lasting between 3 to 5 hours on my skin. I have given Sandal Jasmine a 7.2 out of 10 men's improvement rating. But even though the rating is slightly lower than the rest, this is still a very comfortable, relaxing and joyful fragrance. Sandal Jasmine. This one is going to be very mass appealing, and I'm talking about Vanilla Oud. This is going to be very sweet, smooth, sexy and sophisticated. This fragrance combines the DNA of Parfum de Marly Leighton and Leighton Exclusive. This has the very dark, slightly animalistic quality of Leighton Exclusive, but blends it super well with the very mass appealing, spicy, sweet, vanilla-like DNA from Leighton. People often compare Leighton to some type of apple pie smell, and I also get this from Vanilla Oud. Of course, this is also going to be very sweet, spicy, but the oud in this gives it a dark and animalistic touch to it, but it's going to be mostly very sweet and mass appealing. This is super sophisticated and very well made. I'm going to give Vanilla Oud from Niche4All a 9.2 out of 10 men's improvement rating. This also lasted 8 to 10 hours on my skin with very moderate projection. Second to last fragrance I'm going to talk about in this video is going to be super divisive and very very loud. I'm going to talk about Hazel Cognac. Hazel Cognac is very boozy, sweet, dark, very strong, and very loud. This fragrance has a lot of gourmand qualities, both edible gourmand qualities but also an alcoholic beverage quality. I think this fragrance is an inspired by fragrance of Kilian Angelshare, and this is right up my alley. This smells overall very luxurious and super dense. This fragrance is not going to be for everyone, but if you are looking for a very loud and out there scent, Hazel Cognac might be just something for you. The projection and performance on my skin was 8 to 10 hours with a very strong projection, drying down to being moderate, and after a few hours being a skin scent. Wow, this stuff is strong, and it's going to be much stronger most likely on you, because I have very bad skin for fragrances and getting projection and performance at all. I'm going to give Hazel Cognac a 9.6 out of 10 minutes improvement rating. The last fragrance that I'm going to talk about from Niche4All is most likely one of the fragrances that I want to check out the most, and that is Agar Oud. This fragrance is a very similar fragrance to Tom Ford Oud Wood. This is a very safe, sweet, westernized, smooth oud that is very easy to wear, easy to pull off, and mass appealing. If you want a fragrance that smells identically to Tom Ford Oud Wood but is stronger nowadays than Oud Wood, I will highly recommend Agar Oud from Niche4All. This is so amazing, almost a one-to-one. It's longer lasting and more projecting. This has moderate projection on my skin and an 8 to 10 hour longevity. This stuff is super well made, and I can't see why you shouldn't try this for yourself. I have given Agar Oud a 9.5 out of 10 minutes improvement rating. Quality stuff. So gentlemen, these were 9 of the Niche4All fragrances that I got to try for this video to showcase and talk about to you guys. Johan, if you're watching this, thank you very much for the free samples. I have enjoyed every single one of them. I think the ratings have been very fair, analytically correct in my personal opinion, of course. Gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, let me know if you have heard or tried Niche4All fragrances before, or if you're considering to try them after watching this video. And if you also enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the Men's Improvement YouTube channel for more videos about fragrances, grooming, style, fashion, skincare, fitness, lifestyle, motivation, anything that will make you, gentlemen, the best possible versions of yourselves. The last few things that I want to ask you, gentlemen, is to smile more, because it's free, and I want you to watch my video of the free fragrances that I've gotten from Enticer's Hues and my first impressions of them. I think you will like that video a lot.